I call this Audit and Investment Committee meeting of the Conroe Independent School District to order. Let the record show the quorum of members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. The time is 7:32. Because a quorum is present, anyone who registered and would like to make a public comment on items posted on the committee's agenda, you are welcome to do so at this time. Ms. Spurlock, do we have anyone? All right, then we'll move right into our agenda. We'll skip item number 1, which is citizen participation, and move to item number 2, consider and approve minutes from the May 7th, 2025 Audit Committee meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
All right, have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. All right, item number 3 is to receive investment review and results update. Good morning.
Thank you. And it is early, but good morning, Chairman Duncan, members of the committee, and Dr. Landry. It is my pleasure this morning to be here to present our annual investment report. We included a copy of the report in the packet that you received for the meeting. As per board policy, we are required to share this information with you annually, and I would like to share some of the highlights that were included in the report. The first thing we're going to review is the investment strategy, and then we're going to look at the general fund portfolio composition and revenue for August 2021 through August 2025. Then we're going to review the current combined portfolio composition, and finally, we'll see how we're doing against the benchmark analysis. Our investment strategy has remained unchanged, and the primary focus is always on the safety of principal. We invest current operating funds in state investment pools, Woodforest National Bank, commercial paper, and short-term government securities of 1 year or less. We also have $50 million that we have a general fund unassigned fund balance with Hub Investment Partners to create a 36-month investment ladder. Now looking at the general fund portfolio composition over the last 5 years, if you look at the far right bar, you can see the 2025 composition, and the general fund portfolio has a value of $220.5 million. The gray area represents the amount invested in agency funds and makes up 9.3%. The light blue represents the amount in money market funds, and that total amount is $84.4 million, making up 38.3% of the portfolio. The green amount is state pools, and it represents 36.9% of the portfolio, totaling $81.2 million. And finally, the navy blue shows treasuries making up 15.5%, a total of $34.3 million. And as you can see, while interest rates have fallen some, we still have a good interest revenue in the general fund for 2025 of $10.8 million. Looking at the combined investment portfolio, as of August 31st, 2025, this includes all funds like the capital project funds, a debt service fund as well. The total portfolio is a little over $1 billion. The weighted average maturity date amount is 35 days. The yield is 4.42%, while the 90-day T-bill rate is 4.01%. Looking at the pie chart, you can see that the largest part of our portfolio, combined portfolio, is state pools in the amount of $867.3 million. And finally, we'll look at the benchmark analysis. We always compare ourselves to the 90-day T-bill as our benchmark, and you can see that the green line represents our portfolio versus the 90-day T-bill is represented by the blue line, and you can see that we are continuing to outperform our benchmark. And that is our investment report.
Ms. Westrup, I have a few questions.
Okay.
While that slide was up, I was going to catch you.
Sure.
In 2021, I noticed, can you explain the variations from 21 to 2025 on this
Sure.
graph?
So we do the 36-month ladder, so it locks you in to interest rates, and those were at a time when the interest rates were climbing, and we were still locked into some of the lower interest rates. So while it didn't benefit us as well then, now it is benefiting us a lot more because we still are up on the higher interest rates while the T-bill and the rates have dropped some.
Does that explain, so my next question was the drop, or there was a slight decline and then a bit of a drop, almost a point, from August 2024 to 2025. Can you just explain that?
That's just the interest rates are coming down, just your
So
normal
that's
interest rates of
normal.
the total portfolio.
Nothing-
Yes, they're just coming down. They went up for a while and now they're just coming down a little bit. But still, by being us being locked in at some of those investments in the ladder at a higher interest rate, we're still outperforming the T-bill.
Okay, and back to the first slide that you showed, you said there was a $50 million amount you mentioned?
Yes.
I didn't catch. what
We
that
have
was
$50
made of.
million of general fund unassigned fund balance that we know that is available for us to be able to invest, that we don't need for operating funds at this time. And we use that with Hub Investment Partners, and that is that 36-month investment ladder. But that's the highest amount that we put with them.
Okay, what makes up that 50 million?
It's several different investments that they make.
Okay, so that.
And they follow our investment policy and only invest in those. Most of those are like CDs and FDIC backed of $250,000. So that's why you have to have several of those to make up that portfolio, but they're all insured.
And currently they're unassigned $50 million of the general fund is unassigned.
Yes, it's unassigned fund balance. So it's not, we can't invest it if it is assigned for something. So it's unassigned, and we know that we have that amount that we know that can be out at certain points for 36 months that we won't need. So we might as well be making money on it. And they're not all at 36. They mature at different periods of the time.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any questions, ladies? Is this the first time we've had a $1 billion general fund balance?
I think this is the highest.
I think so.
Because I was like, oh, that number. Yeah, it's
Total.
combined. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
If there are no other questions, we can move on to item number 4, consider and approve the Conroe ISD investment policy. Again, Ms. Westrup.
Thank you. Okay, we are asking for the committee's recommendation to the full board to approve the investment policy in accordance with Texas Government Code Chapter 2256. This item, along with the other standard investment program resolutions, will be taken to the full board at next week's meeting. All of the resolutions were included in the investment report in your packet, and they will all be presented separately to the board and at this for their approval on each resolution. At this point in time, we would like for your recommendation to take the investment policy to the full board for its approval.
All right, do I have a motion to move this to our full board meeting, this agenda item?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor? None opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, item number 5 of our agenda is to receive the status of the 2024-25 and 2025-26 internal audit plans. Mr. Hayden.
Chairman Duggan, members of the Audit Committee, Dr. Landry, and guests, good morning. Hard to believe that the summer blew by that quickly. The last time we met was in May. So, fill you in on what we've been up to. Finishing up the 24-25 audit plan. So, we lost the person that was doing our activity fund audits retired, and we brought in a new internal audit associate. So what this person does, they've really got 2 main functions. One is the activity fund audits, and the other is they handle the PTOs. Right now, the PTOs, always the first of the year, is the biggest concern for that position because there's a lot of new PTOs. They're sending in all their paperwork. So it was really critical that we got somebody in there that knew that. So Laura Davidson used to be my admin back when I first started, and she handled the PTOs. So we hired her on as the internal audit associate, and I'm training her on doing the activity fund audits. And in fact, she just completed the Conroe High Activity Fund audit, so that should be coming out next week. But she's got strong PTO skills, and that's really critical in this job. So the previous person didn't finish all the audits that we wanted to get done, but we'll try to get those complete during the 25-26. So this is kind of where we ended up on activity fund audits. You know, everything's elementary school. Those are definitely the lowest risk activity funds out there because they're the least money. So we will try and get these knocked out during the year. However, we do the high schools every other year, and so those are really critical to do because that's where the big money is. So as we have time, we'll try to hit the rest of these, and then in 26, 27, we'll go back and finish up the elementary schools. Any questions on activity fund or our new person?
I'm curious, was there a reason we only did elementary and one intermediate?
Because in the past, because elementary schools were so low risk, they hadn't been done like in 5 or 6 years. So it was determined that we don't really need to do high schools every year. We'll do them every other year, and then on the off years, try to hit these schools that haven't been hit in 5 to 7 years.
So refresh my memory, were the high schools done? Were high schools done in the past in 2023?
Yes.
They were, okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions?
The Chromebook inventory. So we did a inventory for 5 campuses. And these are the campuses listed here. Now, I will note that Grand Oaks was so huge that we did a sampling there, but all the rest of the schools, we did a complete inventory. And this...
May I ask a question on that? So I'm a little concerned that we didn't do a full inventory at Grand Oaks because my email, my text messages, my phone is ringing off the hook. That's my feeder zone.
Yeah.
And I'm being told we do not have enough Chromebooks there, but from parents. But then over here, I'm being told we have plenty. So is there a chance that we might need to do a deeper dive on them there?
I think that we
sorry.
have.
Okay.
So moving up to anticipate the question. So what Brian and his team did was just check our existing inventory about the accuracy of what was there. Since this has happened, we have inventoried probably 2/3 of our campuses, re-inventoried every piece of technology, not just Chromebooks and iPads, but telephones, document cameras, projectors, and all of those things. Grand Oaks, I know, has been completed, and we're in the process of working with all of the high schools in the last couple of weeks to finalize and verify the inventory, make sure what we say is in the rooms is in the rooms, and we're building plans as we speak to roll out specifically to high schools. We'll get everywhere, but high schools are our top priority. So it's all in the works. This was an initial piece of what we were doing, but Grand Oaks, I know in particular, and at least 2/3 of our other campuses were fully re-inventoried over the summer, and we're working with other campuses now to make sure that happens everywhere as well.
So as Mr. McCord likes to say, he just woke up back there. For those in the listening audience, I just want to be sure these English departments have been struggling over there, and these are people that I trust. These aren't just noisemakers or even teachers that are just complaining or whatever. And they are struggling. So, and they're not able to get enough in their classrooms at this time. So I want to make sure we do focus specifically. I mean, yes, technology is important in other grade levels for, their purposes, but they're not nearly as important as those 9th through 12th grade years of having them for their, for that part, especially English, you know.
Absolutely, Mrs. Odenweller, and I think that was made really clear at the board meeting where Ms. Nelson was talking about dual credit and those things, and we'd started talking about our laptops covered by the cell phone ban and all of those things. And when that realization kind of came about at that meeting, we prioritized high schools immediately. We have 1,500 Chromebooks in stock ready to go. Shane Mitchell on my team is working with the high school technology contacts, the campus technology contacts at every high school. My understanding is that every high school plans to have their inventory completely verified by the end of this week. That's the prerequisite step we needed. Once that's done, we can start rolling out devices, putting Chromebooks in rooms because they'll be assigned to actual classrooms, and actually start making that happen. But we have the devices in place. We've been working with the high school campus technology contacts for the last 2 weeks, making sure that they were ready, getting where they're ready and ready to receive things. So I would expect that by next week, we will start sending stuff to campuses.
Thank you so much for clarifying that.
Absolutely, thank you.
Oh, I have one more question, if you don't mind. How are we handling the Chromebooks in need of repairs in the inventory? Are those accounted for in inventory, or are they in a different category?
So they're accounted for in inventory, and what we are working toward, and we've started contracting for some repairs because we've had so many. Let me back up and give you a little bit of the history. We've kind of built this on ourselves. In the past, the way Chromebooks, iPads, any other device that was replaced, the way it was replaced was a one-to-one exchange, right? So we had funds. If you had 30 of the model we were replacing, you gave us 30, and then we gave you 30 to replace it. So our schools have been conditioned to store up those devices, even if they're broken, to hold on to them until somebody came by to replace them. And so at the end of last year, when we said, we're not doing that anymore, we're going to have a device standard, we're going to make sure every classroom has the devices they need, we had this deluge of broken devices that people had been holding in libraries and closets and everywhere for that one-to-one exchange. So having said that, we have a couple of thousand Chromebooks in need of repair or triage to see if they need to be repaired. We started at the end of the last fiscal year contracting with a repair company to do some of those repairs for us. We have 3 people in the warehouse that do the repairs, and we just couldn't do that volume. So we have got those repairs going. For the repairs we started at the end of the last fiscal year, we did not charge that to the campus. We just started doing those repairs. We will use recycle funds when we recycle devices to continue to maintain that repair. It's not going to be enough to get them all done, but it's going to get us moving and take some of that burden off the campuses. But they've actively been moving, and I don't know the exact number, but I can get that for you of how many we've sent out and how many we've received back. But the ultimate goal is that we take that burden off the campuses in the sense that if they put in a ticket for something to be repaired, we take them a working Chromebook, put it in place, and have it in the room, and then we figure out what needs to happen with the broken Chromebook in the warehouse so that it's never an issue, and then we change it in the inventory. So I give Grand Oaks this Chromebook. It is now in Grand Oaks inventory. I take the broken one out of Grand Oaks' inventory. It may go back to Grand Oaks. It may go to the Woodlands High School. It may go to Gladys, just depending on where it's needed.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad we have a plan for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry to have interrupted
Oh,
your
gosh,
presentation.
no.
Thank you.
So as you see, the Chromebooks that should be there were pretty much all there. We had like a 98%, which is really great considering how many devices we had. Now there were a lot, like Dr. Lambert said, that had been swapped out that just weren't taken off inventory, so we cleaned all that up. And we're able to go back and say, here's kind of what we found on doing this inventory that'll help you when you do all the campuses. So we were kind of the pilot just to see what the roadblocks would be. Any other questions on that? Okay. And Dr. Lambert talked about that. All right.
Did I just read on that last slide that only, I say only, but 515, right there, 515 devices on inventory error were related to mainly those that weren't returned after COVID?
Well, as that, and they had been swapped out for new ones.
But that's
earlier.
crazy I'm impressed out of 74,000 students and equipment we had out. I thought for sure that would be much higher, but okay, thank you.
Yep, sure. The construction audit for Flex 24 is complete. We review the final cost calculations, the backup documentation, subcontractor contracts and payments and all that. And change orders is a big one, and we didn't have any findings. And I will say it every time I get up here that Easy has got P&C running very well controlled, especially on the financials. Every year, we just don't. I did find a $2 error. I did, out of $30 million. But that was it.
That's good to know.
The PTO manual, so I took it upon myself to update the PTO manual because it was 80 pages of duplication and it was all over the place. So I just kind of started to where you want to start a PTO down to you want to dissolve your PTO. And just put everything in order, took out all the duplications and updated the formatting. So as you see, we cut it in half from 80 pages to 40. So hopefully that'll help the people trying to decipher what you do when you start a PTO.
Mr. Hayden, is that available online, that
Yes, it
revised
is.
version?
It
Okay.
is. All right, 25-26 audit plan. So as you see, for the activity funds, it's the high schools and the intermediates this year. And then, as we spoke before, the next year we'll go back to elementaries and then go back to this. So, we're currently doing the white fleet inventory and police. So we're just going through that vehicle fixed asset inventory and touching every vehicle, making sure it's there, making sure that the plate numbers are correct, the VIN numbers are correct and all that, just making sure that everything on that list is accurate. We'll do the buses in the summer, obviously, when they're not being used as much. Next month, we'll do the police department. And as you see, we look at general operations and training and evidence process and the security in the evidence room and the vehicle inventory as well.
Mr. Hayden, on the police department, on those vehicles particularly, we were told last year, we were updating the sticker, what do you call that? The
VINs or?
the decorative, the lettering that's put
Oh,
on the
okay,
vehicles.
okay.
So we were told that was going to be updated. One priority of this board was to have the In God We Trust stickers put on those vehicles. Are we swapping out our entire fleet, or is that something you have a solid number on, or would that be a
That
Chief
hasn't been
Lakelock
part of the
question?
scope, but I can certainly add it if you want me to.
I would like to have a line item for that,
Okay.
to know how many vehicles have been completely swapped out within the past,
Yeah.
18 months,
Okay.
and then what the projections are.
See, that's the advantage of me working for you. You get to tell me what
Yeah.
you want, and
That
I'll
way you
carry
don't
it
come
out.
to us without it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
we'll add that. No problem.
Okay.
Under staffing and training, does anything as far as physical fitness and capabilities in that regards come into play in that audit, or is that just strictly under his training and staffing?
Yeah, we're looking more just at the actual police training.
Okay,
And
thank you.
Yeah. Child nutrition will be Q1 2026. Cash controls, obviously. Inventory controls are kind of the two big ones because there's so much food going in and out. And just compliance with all the regulations they have to comply with, which is a lot. We'll do a follow-up for the CISD transportation audit that was done last year. So we do that with all the big audits. We always follow up on them to make sure that the management responses have been followed through. And then we'll do the band instrument inventory in May
Can we go back
and
to
November.
transportation for a second?
Sure.
Are you just going to do a follow-up to what you did in the past, or are you going to look at other things as
No,
well?
when-
Because I know routing, it didn't look
Yeah.
like you looked at that
So
last
when
time.
we do a follow-up, it's strictly on the findings from the previous audit.
Okay. So we haven't looked at routings.
No, I don't have the expertise, yeah. But if y'all want us to do that, again, I work for you, and I can make that happen.
There
but-
have been several inquiries since the board
Okay.
switched over in November regarding routing and the,
Yeah,
and the efficiencies
efficiency.
of our routing. Is that a Mr. McCord item? And I know you might not be prepared to speak to it, but that is something that was a priority for board members?
Well, we had done some work to prepare a possible audit background item for the upcoming meeting. What I can tell you is obviously we are in a situation where we are sunsetting our current routing software. So new software is going to be a big deal. In fact, it's not a big deal, it's the big deal for the district. The district does not exist as we know it without properly functioning vetted routing software. But I will tell you, as far as efficiency per mile for regular transportation and for special transportation, and I can show you the data, we are top 5 in the entire Houston area of efficiency of routing per mile.
So we have those numbers, is what you're saying?
Oh, yes.
Okay, that's really my concern, is that
Yes.
we didn't have the data or the visibility.
You know,
So if we have it, that makes me
Could you
feel a lot
send
better.
that to us? I don't think I've seen what you're
if that's what
referring
y'all
to.
want, I can certainly do. Put a lot of work into it. What I can tell you is that it's really the mileage we drive as a district. It's not really apples to oranges to the other district. It's apples to popcorn. So we drive over 7 million miles. And so what that means is for our routes, there may be some efficiency increases when we go to a new routing software. The same challenge we face driving buses is the same challenge that all of us, as we drive around the fruited plain known as Conroe ISD, with transportation on, especially in Candy Creek at 2090 and 1485, 242, just really everywhere you go. So, you know, another thing just to consider as we drive our routes, as opposed to many of the other districts around, is that they may drive a bus may drive a route in the morning and a route in the afternoon. That's it, just like where I grew up. And I made a joke one time that when I was a kid, what it wasn't a joke, it was a point of emphasis here before the board, that when I was a kid, buses just drove around, they saw kids, they picked them up and took them to school. But there's a very much a strategic plan of where we go now. But what makes us different is that we have 6 runs for efficiency, 3 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. There's a 15-year lifespan of our school buses. And with our school buses, because of that, even though they have a 15-year estimated lifespan, ours is it's a hard 15 years because you're really driving triple the amount of miles that you would if you were just at a rural East Texas school district or just a regular size school district. But to really get back to your point, the routing software and efficiencies of routes is a big deal. Now, what I will tell you, what drives the efficiency of routes, hard stop, is what we use, is what the board approves and what we follow as a district as far as the mileage that we will transport kids. If we do, like some district, a couple districts, they transport everybody. We do basically a mile at all levels. Most districts, or the majority of districts, they transport everyone 2 miles and further. But for whatever you do for your actions or for your inactions, there are consequences. So, for example, Cy-Fair went to a 2-mile range, and there was a revolution. And so they went back to transporting everybody. But whatever we do, your walk-to-stop distances that you approve, that impacts what time we can get kids to school and get kids home. It's all connected. It's all a matrix of connections. So, but really the efficiency, the routing software is part of it. Our ability to have buses is a big part of it. Our ability to recruit and retain quality drivers is a big part. But the overriding factor is what distance the board sets for us to transport kids from a school district, from their home, whether it's a mile and a half, or 2 miles. And some districts do 1.5 miles maybe for elementary and 2 miles for secondary. You can do anything you want. But the walk-to-stop distances play a big part of it also.
Mr. McCord, would updating our demographic study change our routing or impact our routing at all?
It would let us know where people are going to be emerging from, to end with a preposition. It certainly wouldn't hurt anything. A lot of it is something we need to know. For example, because at some point, for example, right now in Grand Oaks, I'll be talking to you on Tuesday night about rezoning for Arnold Elementary, which will be a K-6 is our plan, and Grand Oaks Junior High. For example, we need to know, based on current numbers, we have 1,024 kids in York in 8th grade. We have 1,024 kids at Grand Oaks High School in 9th grade. If you look at the projections from PASA in 2022, and I'm really off the rails from your original question, but if you look at the projections, we're projected for 5,600 kids at Grand Oaks High School in the year 2032, which is not in the far distant future. Now, right now, we are a couple of hundred kids off projections for Grand Oaks High School, but we will be in that ballpark. So there are things we need to know. And I've said before, since the query was here, my concerns are Patterson, which is huge, way over capacity. Bartlett, which is growing like in rural East Texas where I grew up, it's growing like a goat weed. It's so big, it's fast. San Jacinto, which is like a Laura Ingalls one-room schoolhouse, and it has Ardavia and Mavera coming to it. And even though we did Campbell, it did mitigate some of what we have coming to San Jacinto from Evergreen, but they're coming. And so there are pockets of our district that are slightly behind projections, and there are other pockets that are ahead.
So to that question, we just paid a lot of money to PASA to do our demographic study, and it's only 3 years old, and it was intended to be a 5 to 10 year plan. Is it possible to not do a full-on demographic study, that they can only look at certain areas, because that is an extreme expense that we basically have already paid for in the longevity, what they were supposed to project out for a period of time. I would hate for us to spend that same amount of money all over again when it's only 3 years into this plan.
Yeah, we can always do a query of Dr. Tapera. She's spoken to the board before from PASA. So, that original plan was part of a 4-year bond. So that's where we are on that. The projections go through the year 2032, 2033, which is why I cited one of my biggest concerns, which is Grand Oaks High School. But I'm putting the cart before the horse, and I'm spoiling my presentation for next Tuesday. But there's a plan. We have the Grand Oaks High School 9th grade campus. Mm-hmm. So we have a strategic plan. We are in good position in Grand Oaks. But
it's coming.
It doesn't last forever. And when you look at the east side of Grand Oaks and you see all that green, and I tell you, today's wetlands is tomorrow's master plan community.
Mm-hmm. So I want to go back to your statement regarding the software. I'm so sorry, wait, are you done with the, okay. I want to go back to the software statement. Last month it was on the agenda, and it was asked to be removed from consent agenda because there was a request to ask some questions, and since which I've followed up with asking some things, and I just wanted to say thank you to the finance department and to you all explaining why that software was so important, and not just in the background information, but it's also our reimbursement documentation from the state on our transportation too. So I just thank you all for that information.
Okay, hope I answered the question.
Can you go back to, you mentioned that we're in the top 5 for routing efficiency. What is that based on?
The cost per mile, total cost per mile driven. So at cost per mile, we are way up high in special transportation efficiency per mile, and we're reimbursed per mile. So that's why it's given per mile. And I have a presentation that has that. I have a standing presentation we update, and then we're at the very top for regular transportation per mile. Mm-hmm. And that's driving over 7 million miles a year, which is crazy. It's like
are you
14
comparing
or 15
to
times
to Houston ISDs, or what are you comparing to?
All around Houston, the entire greater geographical Houston area. Okay. I think it's around 18 to 20 districts. We compare the usual suspects: Katy, Cy-Fair, Humble, all of them.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, if you could send that over, I'd love to look at it.
Right.
And Mr. McCord, you said at Grand Oaks we're currently 200 students off the projections. Is that upwards or downwards?
If you down.
Oh, so we're under.
So it's really crowded.
Yeah, it's crowded.
But looking at the projections, I just looked at them a couple of days ago because we're doing this presentation on Tuesday for Arnold Elementary and Grand Oaks Junior High. And so if you look at it for 2032, I'm going back and looking, what was the 2032, 2033 projection by PASA for Grand Oaks High School? and I believe it was like 5650. I'm flying without a net here, that's off the top of my head. And then went back, and then Mr. Foster and I were talking about the ninth grade campus and the numbers we fit there. For example, the ninth grade campus that's being built has a capacity of 1,200. So if we have 1,024 kids currently in ninth grade at Grand Oaks, it gives us a little bit of a buffer, but it doesn't last forever. It gives us not the kind of buffer we would like, but thankfully we have that ninth grade campus coming in to help us at Grand Oaks High School with the ninth grade campus.
And
there.
you've already mentioned that we're looking at a second high school on the east side, or an
Well,
additional high school
you know,
eventually.
I think there's no doubt, and I don't want to make any bold predictions, but when you look at all the green, you look at all the trees, you go to the fine Grand Oaks area, you see that Townsend's going to be extended. It's going to hook up the Imperial Promenade up along 99, and it's going to extend south toward Deerbrook Mall. I don't think you have to really be a professional demographer to see. There's going to be a lot of kids.
And Ryko just sold that property.
The southern.
Yes, and that's you said it, and it was almost at the tail end of what you said. It is crazy to me, as I stated before, that I live over there, to look at the map and see how it goes all the way down to almost touching Deerbrook Mall. Conroe ISD does. That is just, and it already takes an hour to go from my house, which is farthest south, where we are right now, up to Bartlett. I mean, that is just insane to me how big we are.
You know, and you mentioned Bartlett. Bartlett's a big concern. Bartlett's a big concern. We're growing so fast with Silverthorne, Cielo, Pine Acre Trails. Bartlett has a wide geographical swath. Now, down the road, there is a strategic plan. Down the road, we do own, if you go and you Google Carter Ranch, we have land, 40 acres, which is going to be a big relief, potentially for whatever you approve. But the concerns would be getting help for Patterson, Austin, and Bartlett, because they can only hold so many.
What's the Bartlett capacity?
It's 950, it's over it now. And we're easy, second year, third year? Second year in to Bartlett Elementary.
Is it case?
Is that K6?
Bartlett's K4, yes.
So could we have a plan for a K6 out there? That's maybe another topic for another day, but.
We can do whatever you want, but with the opening of Fowler Intermediate, we're in a much better place at the 5th and 6th grade level. And we have Veterans Memorial and Grangerland Intermediate, both of those intermediate schools in Caney Creek, and we have a little bit of a buffer there. We're in a relatively good spot, at least in the medium term, at the 5th and 6th grade level. It is at the elementary school level in the far north of Conroe and in the far north of the Caney Creek area that we're at the elementary level. That's where we're up against it. We're not up against it today, but it's not a distant future.
Right.
So,
Thank you, Mr. McCoy.
well, thank you.
You'd mentioned that we were growing by 250 students a day for a while over the summer. Did that slow after Labor Day, and are we in line with projections, or above or below?
Well, now obviously that slows during the summer when you have the rush. So we looked at it. We are, Karen, help me out. 72785. So as a district, we're slightly off what we thought we'd be right now, or what I thought we would be, and I think Karen thought we'd be. My concern is there are pockets. There are pockets. It's the San Jacinto pocket. It's the Bartlett pocket, the Patterson pocket, the Grand Oaks pocket. There are pockets. And then there are other pockets that are relatively built out. And where I live in my undisclosed location in the Woodlands, we're pretty static because everything's built out and people are getting older, which is the goal, which I am too. So it just depends where you are and what you're doing, you know. Everything's different. Everything has a story behind it.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. McCord. Back to you, Mr. Hayden.
And next summer, we will do the bus inventory. And we'll also do a P&C, kind of depends on what's being built at the time and how close it is to completion. So we usually pick that after the first of the year. We will also be doing a networks general controls audit. Now, we did this when I first started, like back in 21, I want to say, and then did a follow-up the next year. But you know, we've had changes in leadership, and it's time to revisit this, because and plus technology changes so quickly that it's good to do just kind of this general overall audit, once every 3 or 4 years.
Can we add software into that inventory or into this plan for 2026?
I think that,
So I've been working
We
with
did
Dr. Lambert, and thank you so much for, he's been putting together software inventory, all of our apps. We have hundreds of apps. So I'm trying to figure out, I would like us to look at that because they're putting all the data together, but I want someone to really dig in and analyze where we can have better efficiencies. I'm not sure if it fits here or if we need to put it somewhere else, but I would like us to look at that this year.
sure, I mean, yeah, probably doesn't fit here, but I can talk to Weaver and maybe we can do something separate on that. Absolutely.
And I don't know if Dr. Lambert has things to add. But.
Because I know, Brian, we did a software audit last year, but it was a software controls, and I think what Ms. Dawson's really interested in is inventory and duplication of effort, essentially, in software.
And that is, I'm glad you asked that because it's something I've been asking about for over 2 years, that I almost guarantee that just like with subscriptions and things in our personal lives, that we sign up for and don't even realize are still going on and so forth, and charges. I guarantee you there's duplications or things we could streamline down when something already does that, even though someone likes this software and someone likes this one, we might be able to consolidate and save money there. Those memberships and those per student use or per teacher use, they add up. And when we have multiple, or we can get bulk buying by all centralizing in an area, it makes a big difference.
Absolutely, we can do that.
To that point.
Can you just get back to us and let us know when that's going to be conducted? I know, I'm putting you on the spot. That's what.
No,
for
no,
later,
what
if
I'm
you could get
saying
back
is
to me.
that, I'm trying to think of the budget. So y'all want it this year or is next year okay? So I kind of need to know that before I give you an answer here.
I would prefer this year.
Okay,
I mean, if I don't know in terms of timing, subscriptions, things like that, if we need to do it on the earlier side than the later side, but.
yeah, I can schedule that for summer, if that works for
For
y'all.
next summer?
This coming summer.
Like, we just got done with, so a year from
Right.
now.
Well, again,
I don't
because
know.
I got Weaver doing this.
Yeah.
But if you want it done sooner, I'll change this and have Weaver focus on that. I work for y'all, so you tell me what you want done, and I'll get it done.
Could we come back to this question and schedule, like discuss it with him so that we can look at everything and prioritize where we think we need to focus? Okay.
Yeah, I like that idea, because to that point, I wanted to mention the software particularly that we're using, the school buck software. The one thing I've noticed about that, loading it, every time you add money to a child's account, you're charged a $3 plus fee. So over time, that adds up if you don't just front load it at the beginning of the year with hundreds of dollars. So those tiny concerns are something I'd like to discuss with you and maybe prioritize certain areas of the software we're using.
Absolutely.
That specific software is like a platform, and it does go through the child nutrition POS system. So we'd probably have to look at that as a whole, because that downloads into their POS. But I agree, over the past several years, their costs have increased and those have gone. I mean, as a parent, I'm trying to
fees
do the
are-
bigger
yeah.
dollars, and we discuss that every time we get the increased fee, and it's like they tell us just a little bit before. And I have been successful in the past saying, look, you can't tell us now, we've already sent out our information to our parents or whatever, and we've been successful at times of having them hold off for several months or to the next new year, but it is an increasing thing. But we would have to probably look at their entire POS system when we do, because I don't think that in my information from when we first started using them, that's who we kind of had to go to
Yeah.
for the POS system. And that may not be the same now, so it would be a good one.
Yes, definitely an area I want to look into. Thank you.
Back to the network general controls, does the, for that audit, does it look at any of our support staff or people that we need to manage those systems?
It does look at staffing, yes.
Excellent, thank you.
Yep. Because that's one of the things in just general controls. Do you have enough people to effectively have proper segregation of duties and things like that. So it's definitely part of that. So y'all just let me know when you want that audit and kind of just a general scope, and I'll get it done.
Also, I'll just throw out there that I've been in communication somewhat with Dr. Vincent, and I know there's areas he's interested in, so that would be maybe a workshop or something for us to consider and have discussion as a board so that everyone can weigh in, and Dr. Vincent can weigh in on what are some of his priorities.
I didn't realize we were talking about the apps today, but wasn't that mentioned in a previous meeting? Weren't we planning to audit those apps? Was that through you, Mr. Hayden, or was that through someone else?
Well, the last audit the last IT audit we did last year was around apps and security, and how we change, how we make sure that obsolete apps are gotten rid of. So it was kind of a general controls, but strictly on the app side, and
Okay.
software.
So we've done that, but have we done the network audit? We haven't done that yet, and we need that, right? That's why it's on
What do you
this.
mean by network?
Or
audit?
for the network general controls, this IT audit with Weaver that we're looking at right now, we haven't done that yet, so this is needed.
Yeah, that usually happens in February.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We let everyone come back after the first of the year, and almost every year the IT audit starts in February because they take a long time, and then it's ready for the May audit
Okay.
committee meeting.
Would we be duplicating information if we did apps again? I went through all of that again.
Well, this really isn't looking at apps.
No, I mean, since we've done that in a previous audit pretty recently.
I think it depends on outcomes we're looking at,
Yeah.
like Misty stated, discussion as a whole board, maybe a workshop, and then coming up with our priorities and what outcomes we're wanting, because I was on this committee when we did last year, when that was completed, and I particularly don't feel like we got the outcomes that maybe I personally was looking for. So moving forward, I think we might need to revisit that just to get different outcomes.
Or maybe something was learned in that if we asked those questions, we'd get that answer without
Absolutely.
having to duplicate. Maybe they already have some of that info and we wouldn't actually have to redo it. I don't know. They may have it and the previous members of the committee didn't ask those specific questions, but they may already have that info. So maybe in our workshop, we'll find out they already have it.
Yeah, it'd be good to use what we already have.
So if I could just follow up on that. So the software controls audit last year was not the same sorts of, at least, conversations that I've been having with Ms. Dawson. It focused, while it did hit some of the instructional side of things, it was more of our business operations sides and our controls within those systems. Excuse me. So I would just say that if you will permit me, I would like to work with Brian to kind of figure out a way to do both of these things, but I would also be remiss if I didn't share with you, both of those audits will involve the exact same people doing all of the work for it. So I don't know that it is feasible to do all of an ITGC audit and the software audit in the same time frame. I think what that means, at least from my perspective, is that we somehow scale back the ITGC to meet the needs of the software audit. But I also think that software, the usage, the efficiencies, the duplications, that was not, Ms. Simler, addressed in the software audit last time, because that was a controls audit, meaning who has permissions to use certain things, who has access, how do we control access, those sorts of things. So I think that if y'all will allow Brian and I to work on a plan, we can come up with some proposals, certainly present at a workshop or wherever you would like us to present whatever information you want. But I do think that to do a realistic audit of both IT general controls and software means we have to scale something back, just because there's not enough time, like actual time in the day, for both of those things to happen simultaneously.
I understand. I'm looking at this list here and it says, something like physical security. That's very concerning. So I want to make sure that if we do scale back, that we aren't missing something important. So I would defer to your expertise to.
Yeah, and the more I learn, the more I want to know more about ITGC, the general controls. As we've combined the departments, there are things that I particularly want answers to. I want to get more information about physical controls, how many people we have backing up positions, if we have key positions where people decide that they're going to win the lottery and not show up, who do we have to train? Like I think there's some very serious things that we need to address in terms of general controls, but I also understand the reality of there's a lot of software out there, because I've been living in that world for a long time, trying to rein some things in too. So I think they're both very, very important priorities. I just think that Brian and I are going to have to come up with a way to at least begin to address both of them at the same time, realizing that we're not going to have all the answers in one audit. We're going to have to come back in the summer or in the fall or at some point and build some more stuff into it.
Well, and let me be clear, I don't want to do too much in one audit. This is important, like you said, they're both important, very well said. So I don't know, I want you guys to kind of figure out what you think makes sense, but I certainly don't want to, dampen the quality of this audit. I just also would like to look at software. So whatever you guys think makes sense for the timing and, duplication of efforts.
And how would you like us to communicate with you if we have specific questions, or like when you're doing this, take this into consideration, that we'd like to know this information so that you know what we're looking for better than just us throwing this at you at this.
I would always defer to Brian on the audit side. If it's an audit question, it should absolutely go to Brian, but if you have questions about specific pieces of technology or software or just those in general, I'm happy to answer them. But if it's about like the audit and the process,
Yes.
That's
Okay,
I
thank
defer to
you.
Brian, and then I will help.
I
come
just
up
meant
with a
to,
plan.
so that when you all, if you're going to start to try to figure out together what is doable and in what process, that we, I don't want you to start on it if we haven't given you some input and direction or guidance, so.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you, usually we have a big planning meeting with the Weaver IT people in the middle of October. So we've got some time. And that's when we kind of say, here's our scope, here's what so they can schedule.
Thank you for that heads up. I'm sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt you, but thank you for telling us that,
Yeah.
because a lot of times we don't know when those things are happening, and then it's after the case that you've
Right.
already had the big meeting and we didn't get to
Yeah.
weigh in or say anything. That was key. Thank you very much.
So, yeah, and that's the point where Dr. Lemmer and I tell Weaver, here's what we need, and they get their people scheduled, and that's kind of why we start in February, but these people are scheduled out, so we have to make sure that we give them plenty of time. But again, you all let me know what you're looking for, and we'll make it happen
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
That's my job.
We appreciate that.
to make you all happy. And I think that's it.
Awesome.
Any questions?
Could you send us this presentation electronically?
We have it. It's in the board book in there.
It was in the book.
It's in that, the presentation is?
It's at the back of it.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
All right, Mr. Hayden, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That brings us to the last item on today's agenda, which is to discuss committee meeting dates for 25 and 26. Initially, when I looked at this agenda item, I thought, given the timing of today's meeting, we as a committee might consider an October or November meeting, depending on the communications, especially given these conversations today, just to revisit some of what was presented here if we have priority changes once Dr. Vincent is in and we've, as a board, met, and maybe even, I don't know, a workshop might not fit in there. What are your thoughts?
I think going towards November would probably be better, just to give I think it's a great idea to have Dr. Vincent included in an audit meeting. But we want to give him a little bit of time to
Sure.
get familiar with everything, so.
So I was thinking, in October or November, so if it's November, the only problem being that Thanksgiving falls in November.
Just remember, our planning meeting
Is the middle.
with Weaver is in October.
So we would definitely push to
We can move it,
November.
we can't move it a lot.
Is it late October or early?
No, after. Well,
I think we need, if we're going to include, like, trying to incorporate Dr. Vincent and vision and thought and process in that, I think it's important that we do that in conjunction or before your meeting, because then it's after the fact, which is what I was just commenting about we seem to always be behind the.
I can move that planning meeting like the last week of October, but
That would help.
okay. So I'll plan on the last week
So
of
then we could do our
October.
meeting in
We could have the
November.
planning meeting
Well,
with Weaver.
but just so I'm clear, you're saying we should have our meeting
Before.
Before the
before
Weaver
his October
meeting.
meeting? Okay, so that would put us scheduling it that second or third week maybe of October.
And that's just on technology, right?
Yeah.
IT. This isn't other audits
we're
that you're
doing
meeting.
So, or even somewhere in there, I don't know.
Well, we could do it on
I mean, the
Wednesday.
later the better, maybe even here before Dr. Vincent, giving Dr. Vincent as much time as possible.
Okay, so I'm looking at October and just looking at either a Wednesday or Thursday of that second full week of October would be the 15th, 16th, and then the third full week of October would put us the 22nd or 23rd. Like Misty said, we have a board meeting on the 21st. So, and we can communicate and work out scheduling and then let you know. Just in the spirit of setting meeting dates, I wanted to throw that idea out there.
Just so I understand, are we wanting to talk with him about software, what is the IGTC?
Right.
What exactly are we wanting to get his input on?
I'm just thinking that once Dr. Vincent's here and we've gone through our priorities, they may change as far as our ideas that were discussed today when it comes to software or systems or even physical safety. Once we have a priority plan in place, that what's planned for 25, 26 at least, we might need to adapt.
So that'll be good because then I can go to Weaver and we've got the plan. And we can tell Weaver, this is what we need, these are the people that we need.
With regard to that particular piece of the audit, but even like vehicles, transportation, those items that we discussed might change or might need to be adjusted given our direction.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Thoughts? So October, we could meet back here and come to you with or just an update.
But-
And if it's not necessary, we can always take it off the calendar, but I'd rather.
I think it's also wise that we make sure that in this time frame we have those, like in our mindsets, I hate to say agenda, but priorities written down for our committee or our board. And Dr. Vincent obviously is already working on that because he mentioned something to me. And so putting that all together ahead of time is going to make it a lot more fruitful versus us all just brainstorming while we're sitting there. Oh, and this, so.
Yeah. I'll tentatively pin that in here and then get with you by the end of this month to let you know for certain, so we can be prepared. I don't know that requires a vote necessarily. It's just priorities. That being said, our next scheduled meeting currently is slated for Wednesday, January 14th, 2026. So that was my point, is between now and January, once Dr. Vincent's in, we would not meet as a committee for
26, you said?
January 14th.
Or 14th. At?
Okay, we did have a suggestion in discussion that we shift the time of the meeting. Is there any objection to that?
I say it terribly inconvenient for our staff because I know they've got a work day to get to. Is that why we were meeting so early
No,
before?
they actually were saying
They
before
don't
you
know.
got in that they would be thrilled to have it be a little
Excellent.
later.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that would be great for me because I've got to get the kids on the bus.
So is 9:30 good for you?
9:30? Yeah, that would be great.
Dr. Landry, did you have input?
I'm wholeheartedly in favor of it.
I don't know about 9:30.
9 or 9:30?
Like,
Not, can you
I
do
don't wanna- I
9?
don't
Does
wanna-
9 work?
Nine's
9
not
works.
Morning, yeah.
9 works.
Yeah.
Is 9 o'clock?
9, we're asking for feedback. 9?
Everyone's nodding.
9 o'clock?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll go ahead and shift the meeting time for these committee meetings to 9 a.m. moving forward.
Former Army lady back there is like, no, let's get going early in the morning.
Okay, with that, the following meeting after the January will be Wednesday, May 6th, and that's pretty standard, so the only change there will be,
And that's
The time.
the big one of the year.
yes, that's our Weaver
What was that last
presentation, May 6th. All right. If there are no other business items or any discussion, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.